Woo! I'm back! I'm back, everybody! I know it's been a while. It's my first seasonal video in over half a year, and I bet all of you are dying to know every single series you should be watching from this season. Am I right? Am I right, fellas? Oh. It's gonna be one of those seasons, huh? Half a year of hiatus, and this is what I come back to? Just roll the clip. If anything, I'm sure every series being so mediocre this season makes my services of telling you what's actually good even more necessary than usual. All rules are off with this one, but I will say that I penalize sequel series just a little bit because, well, I already love some of these series myself, so there's an inherent bias there, and it's also not as easy to watch an entire season beforehand just to jump into a new one. So sequel series are docked points, and unfortunately that means as much as I love Otome Game, Katarina, go sit in the corner with your harem. This is the top 6, yes, we actually reached 6, anime you should be watching from summer 2021. If there's one thing that anime is oh so good at, it's making you feel nostalgic for a time in your life when you were actually happy. There's something really comforting and wistful, but also sad about being in my 20s and watching a bunch of anime about teens discovering their youth. However, Bokutachi no Remake, or Remake Our Life, takes that concept in a completely meta, blatant wish fulfillment direction as we follow a 28-year-old who regrets the life choices he's made and gets sent back in time to get a do-over and have the life he was meant to have. It's hard not to enter a series like this with a super cynical, dismissive attitude about how the creators of this are clearly trying to manipulate the audience and get them on board with a pretty low-hanging concept. And I'm not even denying that that may be the case. I mean, every story, when you think about it, is trying to manipulate the audience into feeling something. But if you look a little deeper here, I think you'll find there's more going on than just a self-insert gratification narrative. This is a story about ambition and creative passion, and there's weirdly strong writing buried in here about people chasing their dreams, no matter how silly their dreams may be, and how even the people you look up to have their own worries and their own problems that they deal with in order to reach theirs. It's actually pretty well done. And even that aspect of self-inserting into the story actually feels more nuanced when the show is directly telling the audience a lot of these themes and messages. I have no idea where it will go in the future, but if it keeps focusing on that perspective, those borderline inspirational messages of pursuing what you love, I think it will be very cool, and maybe I won't feel so bad about not going to college. You know how I was saying that anime loves their stories about teens discovering their youth and making the audience reminisce about their own childhood? Well, the Aquatope on White Sand is basically that, no strings attached, except for the little catch that it's written by the person who created one of my favorite examples of that kind of story, Skigakure. If you've seen that series, you already know that this dude is a master of crafting teenage dialogue and interactions that are almost uncanny in how grounded and realistically they're portrayed. And while Aquatope doesn't quite match the quiet, nuanced, awkward realism of Skigakure, you can still tell while watching that it's handled by someone who really understands how people talk to each other. It's reserved when it needs to be, it's energetic when it needs to be, it's dramatic without being melodramatic. You just really immediately get pulled into the struggles of these two main girls. As it turns out, the idol industry isn't the wholesome fun that Idolmaster 2011 would have you believe it is, and our main character Fuka gives up on her dream and winds up trying to help another girl save an aquarium that's on the verge of going out of business. It's an original, it's 24 episodes, it's a youthful life drama. This has the potential to become a new Okada tier coming of age classic if the cards are played right. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes. Every so often, waiting absurd amounts of time to do these seasonal recommendation videos actually ends up paying off. This time in the form of an action-adventure pirate series not called One Piece that's actually really cool and fun and kind of just what I've been wanting recently. Fina Pirate Princess feels like the anime attempt at creating a Disney-esque Pirates of the Caribbean swashbuckling adventure. It's filled with vibrant, cartoony personality, the tone is lighthearted but exciting, and above all, there's just a lot of initial heart and charm behind the characters who appear here. It still has those narrative elements that give it a serious and darker edge. I mean, the premiere episode is all about the main character nearly being sold to some scumbag as his wife, but it never becomes too dour or overbearing while still taking everything just seriously enough to get you invested. You also just have to admire the absolutely incredible work that Production IG is doing behind the scenes on this series. The animation, the character designs, the backgrounds, everything, man. There's only so many ways to say that something looks good, and man, this series looks good. This one is also an original, so who knows where it will go in the future, but if you're looking for a fun, lighthearted, grounded fantasy pirate series, which, let's be honest, who isn't, then you've got to check this one out. Every season there has to be at least one series that I declare war on my anime list for their awful, terrible opinions on, and this season it happens to fall with a literal school drama called Kageki Shoujo. The trend of Idolmaster giving me a false glorified perception of the idol industry continues as the main character Ai leaves her idol past behind her to attend a school for theater, alongside her classmate Sarasa, who wants to become one of the 4 troupe top stars. This show is just delightful, man. It's the best. The way it establishes its goal, the different characters and rivalries within the school, the underdog motifs, it's got such an old school sports shonen vibe to it that I really dig. And while I'm sure it's not going to be any stranger to delving into heavier, dramatic material, what I really like about it so far is that it's just wearing its heart on its sleeve. Similar to Fina, this has such a great sense of energy and charm that it's almost baffling to me that something this appealing can wind up so lowly rated. I know the score has risen since then, but come on, man, how does something like this even happen in the first place? It's got the endearing characters, it's got the fun theater premise, it's got the vibes. There's nothing else to say. You know if this is up your alley. Over the course of my life, and especially these days, I've found that my taste in what I look for in fictional stories has gradually changed. Don't get me wrong, I'm down for anything if it's good enough, but when I look back at my teenage self and how obsessed I was with grim dark dramas and death and suffering, it's kind of funny imagining what that teenager would think of me now, a goddamn sap who's primarily interested in good vibes, wholesome interactions, and fun camaraderie between all of the characters. And one of the first anime that made me value those kinds of narrative aspects was a little show in 2017 called Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Uplifting themes of family, redemption, seeing the best in people, this slice of life had it all, with great comedy on top and an amazing production from Kyoto Animation. 4 years later, and after a horrific tragedy, KyoAni is back and better than ever to keep giving these wonderful messages and happiness to the rest of the world. Season 2 of Dragon Maid has gotten me to fall in love with it all over again. Everything is just the way it was before. The new character Ilulu is perfect, and above all, it feels like it's more committed than ever to really making you feel every single episode. This is a series and a staff that are driven by the sole motivation of making its audience laugh and smile. And it's why I love this show, it's why I love Kyoto Animation, and basically you're an idiot if you're not watching it. I'm gonna be real with you. I know what all of you may be thinking when you hear about a new, ambitious, original sci-fi anime series. You may be thinking about another ambitious, original sci-fi anime series that came out this year. You may be thinking about a lot of ambitious, original anime series that have come out and ended up crashing and burning into the ground in a beautiful display of eggs and aliens and all kinds of other nonsense. The truth is, I have no idea how Sunny Boy will turn out. I don't know where the story is going. I don't know where the characters are going. I have no idea if it will live up to its immense promise and potential. And that's kind of what I like about it. Sunny Boy is an eclectic, weird, evocative series about a bunch of students who get transported and stranded in another dimension, all while given these really strange and abnormal superpowers. And no, this is not some token isekai series. Think more Lord of the Flies, but with kids who can fly or create tools or order things from Amazon. No, I am not kidding. That's an actual power. Amazon powers aside, it's actually quite difficult to communicate why this series is actually so unique and weird without just watching the show itself, but I'll do my best, okay? There's just something so hypnotic and engrossing about the way Shingo Natsume brings you into this world aesthetically. Scenes harshly cut from one to another, powers are otherworldly, but they're not flashy or over the top. It's all just stuff that I've never really seen explored in anime, and explored in a really weird and creative way. And thinking about where this story will go, where the mysteries will lead, how the characters will change and develop, no matter how great or terrible this show ends up being, that's something special to me, and that's something that I can recommend now, in the moment, as the #1 series I recommend from summer 2021. Thank you all for watching. As always, I can only give the usual spiel so many times before it gets tiring, but you should really join the Discord if you want to talk about this season's anime, or anything really, with myself and a bunch of other cool people. And of course, as always, press the usual buttons down below if you like what I make and want to see more. That's been all from me. I hope you are having a wonderful day. I love you all, and I will see you in the next video.